Today I am here announcing that Poundmaker, Cree Nation, and Onion Nation, on behalf of certain oil and gas producing First Nations, have sued the Government of Canada over its mismanagement of oil and gas rights on reserve lands.
Basically to prevent your neighbor from you taking all their oil, right? So rules exist for farm owners, for oil and gas companies. If you drill an oil well beside their property, they can apply for compensatory royalty. You can't drain somebody else's property as a rule. And this rule has never been applied for First Nations people. Indian Oil and Gas Canada, which is part of Indigenous Affairs, has never asked for compensatory royalty. So you have situations like Poundmaker that have had 40 wells drilled on reserve, surrounded by 250 wells. And what happens is that all of the oil is sucked off the reserve, and then when they try to produce on reserve, they get dry wells or they get very low production. So this shows you the cumulative production of the lands besides the reserve and on the reserve, beside the reserve, on the reserve. And it shows that of all the gas produced from the lands, only 5% was produced on reserve, and only 8% of the oil was produced, and the rest, 92% was produced off, and 95% was produced off. So the big takeaway is literally that First Nations lands are being drained of a non-renewable resource, and the Government of Canada had a positive fiduciary duty to enforce offset royalties, but because they're underfunded, really, that's really the issue, that they're negligence by the government to provide support for Indian oil and gas, is that they don't even have the capacity to go out and do offset calculations. And so there was a saying when I ran an oil company, there was a saying that when I asked my guys, I said, you don't have to actually rent Indian land, just rent the land beside it. It's very cynical.
So we're a little, in terms of where we're drilling and oil activity, we're also concerned of what type of drainage before we started producing in the 1980s, mid-80s.
Is when you started
Yeah,
producing?
so we're concerned what type of drainage, so we're going to be impacted in that whole review exercise, because there was already oil on the other side and production on the outside the border on the Alberta side.
So you're wondering how much oil was already
Yeah.
gone before you even began drilling,
Right.
and you want compensation for that oil that was taken.
Depending on the outcome in the review.
Okay.